Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, a weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. I had a busy week, so I didn't get nearly as many videos as I had initially planned, but fortunately I'm starting my planning out for December. I've been getting some requests about continuing certain series, such as the retrospective series, though this time moving on into Stormblood. So I think I can crank a few of those out and make sure those are uploaded periodically throughout December. We have our weekly Q&As as well. We are planning at least one, maybe two State of the Realms over the next couple of weeks. And then there's some other ideas that are sprinkled about, but it's going to be a big month on the streaming side of things. Just to get everyone up to date. I started streaming on both Twitch and YouTube recently, so you can catch me 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. on either platform. And as such, the month of December becomes a fairly interesting one. As I do this for a living, a big part of doing it for a living is advertiser revenue. It's something that a lot of people hate. People hate ads. I mean, that's a completely normal thing. But now that I'm streaming on two separate platforms, the month of December becomes something quite interesting, especially as a low month for Final Fantasy XIV. Essentially, ad revenue in December is significantly better for the holidays than it is in most other months. In January, the reverse of that is absolutely terrible. So what you'll see a lot of people do, creator-wise, is pump out really big videos in December or increase their hours or whatever to capitalize on that before kind of taking it easy in January. For me, on the stream side of things, that's kind of what the plan is. So I want a healthy volume of December videos, and then to do a more than average amount of streaming, because that's kind of like a more natural way to incorporate that revenue into everything. So I've actually been planning a bunch of stuff out for that. Thinking of continuing the Final Fantasy Shuffler. People have been asking me about Final Fantasy Renaissance. It's like a Final Fantasy 1 mod that like adds a bunch of stuff in. I haven't looked at it too deeply, but I know it like adds a more like integrated job system and a bunch of bosses from other Final Fantasy. That's a maybe. I'm not usually a big fan of things like that, but we'll see. And then on top of that, 7 Remake might be about time for a replaythrough of that with Rebirth. Now it's just a couple months away. That's crazy to say. Dragon Quest Monsters comes out December 1st. And then there's something that's like slipping my mind game-wise. I can't think of it, but I'll remember. But I'm basically trying to get all that planned out. So just be on the lookout for a handful of videos, but not a crazy amount of videos. Maybe a couple of really easy ones, like maybe a Lodestone post or two. But just giving you guys the heads up on all of that. With that, I have to trial someone for a 7.0 static in 2 hours, so I need to get moving on this. I actually just walked in from the gym, had my shake, I came in, I haven't even showered yet. I'm just like, okay, let me just crank this out and I'll render it while I'm in the shower. That'll be perfect. So with that, let's get into the Q&A. Thanks everyone for supporting over on Patreon. You don't have to. All my content's available for free. I don't like really gating anything away. So if you enjoy the content, just be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, ask a question in the comment section as you would. Or engage with me on Twitch or the YouTube live stream or whatever. But, it's all free. So just enjoy. Anyway, with that, let's get on to the questions. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Allo, allo. Oh, we're doing allo, allo? That's actually what I'm doing for the raid trial tonight. Did you like how they made 6.1, 6.5 MSQ as a sort of self-contained story that is set in the 14 world as opposed to the previous MSQ that stretches from A Realm Reborn to 6.0? Think they'll continue making the story in an episodic fashion instead of making one wide, expansive saga. Last they said they were unsure exactly how they were going to structure it. They haven't really re-commented on that. Other than Dawn Trail being the start of the next 10 years, that's a very open-ended statement, so I wouldn't take that as another long saga kind of thing. And I still don't even really think of 6.1 to 6.5 as a self-contained story. I think of it as it dives deeper into a thing that has kind of lingered since 2.0. The Void has kind of always just been this big thing that's always been present. And we've always just kind of been barely educated on it. And this was basically another way of kind of tying up long-term loose ends, is the way I look at it. Very similar to how Pandemonium does it. Very similar to how Myths of the Realm. I see the MSQ as sort of that like post-end of the world kind of wrap up. Yes, technically it's another otherworldly threat that, if it's not put down is the end of the source and everything else. But on a much smaller scale than that of Endsinger. I did quite enjoy it. I'm curious what elements of it will carry into the future, because I think anyone who's done it can clearly see they're leaving certain places, again, open-ended, so they can revisit them if they want to in the future. And that's always the exciting thing for me, because that's what A Realm Reborn did. It opened a lot of pages, and then we gradually went back to those later. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Oh boy, that's a lot of questions. I don't know if I'll be able to answer everything and still get this done in time, but I'll try. Hashtag happy high Mondays with Mr. Haps. Goodness. Hey there, Haps. Hi. Hope everything is going well. I could say it is. Happy Thanksgiving in the case of you reading this. Happy belated Thanksgiving. Yeah, I didn't even cook my turkey on Thursday. I mean, I just live alone anyway. It's not like I'm doing a whole lot. It's been a while since I asked a question, and back then I didn't ask much of a compelling question, but now I come with two. Okay. With everything now likely going back into place as the release of the expansion is concerned, do you think they will go back to their 3-month patch releases after Dawn Trail? They've never had 3-month patch releases. So before Dawn Trail, it was 17 weeks. Post Dawn Trail, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. Pre-Endwalker was 17 weeks, which most people would consider 4 months and some change. It depends on where the Tuesdays themselves align, but you get my point. And now it's 19 weeks. So it really never was 3 months, ever. I know it's what they used to say, kind of, but even if you were to give 1 or 2 of those months, like 5 Tuesdays, you're looking at 13 or 14 weeks max. It's always been closer to 4 months. And the answer is no, they're not going to go back to that. So we're probably looking at 2.5 years between every expansion from this point on, unless they can, in some capacity, make up for that time somewhere else. And I sincerely doubt they will. 2, we are gearing towards having 21 jobs. Yep, that's quite a lot. I'm starting to wonder if there will ever be a stopping point. I think there's a stopping point for getting 2 jobs in expansion. I think that this is the last expansion of 2 jobs. I feel like they're going to feel compelled to always add 2. Like they're going to think about it. Like we should probably still do that. I think this is the end point of it. I think 8.0 is the first expansion we get 1 job, and I think they will always add a job. As long as the game is alive and healthy, they will always be compelled to add a new job to Final Fantasy XIV because, as they themselves have said, it's a major selling point of hype for the expansion. So I don't think there's going to be a stopping point, as you're asking here. And they're going to continue to, of course, rework existing jobs and all that stuff as well. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Hashtag happy days with Mr. Mon. I like the remix. Hey there. Hi. Hope you and your 4-legged floofs are doing well. Yeah, they're doing fine. He's throwing a bit of a fit, but he just ate and he's sitting over with Ivy right now. Thanks for answering my question last week. First time I've asked anything, and it feels like senpai knows. No, I'm not anyone's senpai. Easier question this week. Do you think we'll ever have another Disciple of Hand or Land? They said they would only do it if there was a compelling reason to, like something that made them stand out from the rest, because otherwise it's essentially just adding another job crafters or gatherers half the level. And there's not anything compelling behind that, behind the amount, other than the amount of time. So obviously some people would turn to maybe a new type of crafter that makes something that isn't like anything else now. But what that would be in its overall function is kind of questionable at best. Like, I don't think we get like an engineer that makes machines, and then the machines are like something we have to work into our routine. I don't think they're going to do anything like that, for example. So I don't think so. I think they're always going to kind of keep the idea, and if something comes to mind, they will do it. But I don't think it's something they're actively striving to do. Hashtag Mr. You disconnected everything from the hashtag, but it's all there. Hey, Happy. Hi. Not sure if I missed it last week or it wasn't asked, but the only question anyone should be asking is, did you do the 100 super jumps? I've never, ever done 100 super jumps in Super Mario. Often because I don't need to. Like, the super suit is easily the best piece of equipment. I'd argue it's better than the lazy shell by a lot. But I've never been compelled. So when I was a kid and I was actually on a Super Nintendo, never did it. Too young, too stupid, not good enough. Then I got older and it was emulated, and emulator delay is not ideal. I'm sure I could figure it out, but not ideal. And then I only did like 3 or 4 super jumps, and like I did more than that. I probably did closer to like a dozen super jumps, and I got to like 44. But I just wasn't stressing super jumping when I could just kill the bosses super quick in the new RPG remake. So no, I didn't bother. I will probably at some point, because it's not that hard to do. It's just a matter of sitting there and, you know, practicing the timing, looking at the animation. The shadow thing helps a lot. But no, didn't bother. Hashtag Mr. Happy Monday. Sorry, I might be too early. Oh no, it's 10 minutes in the video. I could fuck it. Anyway. Hey, Apps. Hope you had good eats on National Cheat Day. I had turkey and rice, and that's all. I've only been eating poultry and rice, beef and rice, and that's it. And vegetables and shakes. That's been it. And will be it for the next 4 weeks as I gear up towards my next 1-rep maxes before I go on a little bit of a cutting phase. I was curious if you ever thought about or would consider doing 14 lore videos with regards to what we know about the 13 reflections. I mean, we don't know a whole lot. You know a whole bunch of lore side quests with regards to the floods, rejoinings, and several umbral calamities, but I haven't found a video that gives comprehensive digest. Oh, you're not just talking about the reflections. You're talking about the, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, you have to, we know which calamities probably claimed which realms, but that's about it. We don't know anything about the other reflections. Like, we know about the first, and I'm sure we could probably divine a detail or two from maybe one of the other ones, like maybe from what Emmett said or whatnot. But there's not much to say other than, and we don't even know everything about all the calamities. Like with pretty much most eras pre-Allegan are complete mysteries. And even the War of the Magi, we know a lot more and we've learned a lot more, but there's still a lot in the dark there. We basically know the synopsis of the War of the Magi and some additional details courtesy of the lore books, but we know so very little about the rest. That's why there's not a lot, because we haven't been told a lot because it hasn't been relevant yet. It's why I wouldn't be surprised to see if Vana'diel was kind of a representation of one of those pre-Allegan eras, to symbolize sort of, you know, Final Fantasy 11 came before 14. And so in Eorzea, or I'm sorry, on Hydaelyn, at some point there was a civilization called Vana'diel, or that was like what they call the continent during a certain era, and then we're just looking back into the past and learning a lot about one of the earlier days of the realm. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey there, Happy. Hi, hope your relic grind is going well. Actually, it is. I'm blowing through Eureka. Like, I finished all of Onamos. I'm like more than half done with Pagos, and with that, I'm getting tons of animal weapon stuff out of the way. It's pretty good. My question is, how do I approach Bozia? Every other relic grind is easy enough to get into, but I've been trouble getting into Bozia since it's not nearly as populated as, say, Eureka. The only place that should be a genuine struggle in Bozia, there's two. Well, I guess technically there's three. It's all the raids. Castrum, Dolubrum, and Dalriada. Generally speaking, you head to the Discords, and I think it's not too bad to find groups that way. By heading there and being like, hey, you know, trying to work through, looking for a relic grind party. And it's a more effort than you should have to take, and that's the fault of the content really being made for the patch it was released on. It didn't have much longevity, nearly as much longevity as Eureka did, for example. So that's kind of it. Other than that, you can just go into instances. It could also have to do with the time of day you're playing, what data center you're playing on. If there is a more popular data center, Ether, that has a better population on average, it could be a good idea to go visit those and try to do it there. But those are your kind of options, is look in the Discords, look for a Discord that has that kind of thing. Like, I think Lego Steppers that does DRS might actually have something like that. Or, and then again, that's only if you're NA. I don't think Lego Steppers does anything in EU. Or just go to Ether. Usually boils down to go to Ether. Hashtag Mr. Happy Monday. Hey, Paisan. I hope all is well. It is. Thank you. What do you think of the chance of getting more storage or glam slots next X-Pack? Hurts my soul to have to discard pieces I'll probably never wear, but just one day it'll complete a perfect glam or something. I mean, they're always striving for that stuff, but keep in mind, for storage, we're not talking about retainers or saddlebags. We're talking about more things qualifying for the armoire. We're talking about the actual number of glamour slots that are available. As you've said, the dresser, spots in the glamour dresser. They're always working towards that, so the answer is always very probable that we'll get some every expansion, but don't expect, like, massive, massive, massive all the time when it comes to that. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hope all is well. I'll take that as a hello. Thank you. You've been playing 14 for a long time. True. I was wondering how many characters you have had and what goals do you have that you haven't done aside from the relics you're currently doing. I only have one character that's serious. I've made other characters at the behests of other people or to specifically make YouTube videos. Like, I made 2 characters to play through A Realm Reborn before they reworked it, and then one after. And then I made an alt character for raiding because the raid team I was in wanted to run splits, where basically, you know, we run 4 mains and 4 alts. We feed all the loot into the mains, and then we swap and we feed all the loot into the mains. Again, essentially doubling the loot for the 8 main characters that we had. And then I made just like for fun characters, like, you know, oh, someone's like, oh, I'm holding an event on Siren. So back in the day, you know, I couldn't just go visit Siren. So I would be like, okay, I guess I'm making a character on Siren just to do this like community event or so. I've got characters scattered all over the place, and most of them are not ever going to see the light of day, but I'm not going to delete them. What's the point of deleting them? Any goals I haven't completed either? I mean, I want the Quaqua from Criterion 3. I technically want the Throne from Criterion 1 also, and I don't want to pay for either of them. So I got to do more of those. Other than that, no, not really. I mean, the relics is really more like, man, wouldn't it be stupid if I did this? No, I don't care about crafting or gathering. You know, I try to keep my gil at a high amount, you know, to get the mounts that I want. And If I don't want them, I don't get them. So no, I'm pretty good on all the things that I could have done. And I'm sure there are things I could do, but there's not much that I'm like, oh, I got to do this. Like, I don't care about getting the triple triad cards from like the tournaments, for example. I mean, maybe one day they'll add a reward and I'll regret saying that, but that doesn't matter to me. Or getting 3 lines in Wondrous Tales, that's never happened. But I don't care. I don't do Wondrous Tales almost ever, other than like at the start of the expansion. So that's, yeah, it's just things like that. And those I don't really care about. Hashtag Happy Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hello, hi, and good day to Happy. Hope your week has been well. It's been good. Longtime viewer, occasional asker. Got 2 questions this week for your perusal. Are you still enjoying Ever Crisis and its various events? I have not logged into Ever Crisis since TwitchCon, just because I haven't made time for any mobile games after TwitchCon. I came back and it was like a whirlwind of emails and sponsored deals and sponsored videos and all this stuff. And I was just like, if I sit there working on Ever Crisis, like hours and hours off stream, I won't get the stuff done. I'm probably going to be revisiting it in December. Once the 9 event is gone, I'll probably come back because I don't even want to start in the middle of the 9 event. And I did have some characters at 55, fortunately. So with the level cap raise, I shouldn't have too much issue getting to 60. But yeah, it's been fine, but I haven't been like crazy about it. Like I have a good enough time that I could keep playing it, but I'm not going to stress over playing. So I've been with mobile games. Honestly, I still need to get through all of Bestower of All and Octopath Champions of the Continent. I know all of Bestower of All isn't out yet in global, but like I love that game. And it's really hard because a lot of people don't want to watch it because they're very conflicted because it's a mobile game, but it's got a great story and it's Octopath game. Like it's great, but I haven't even gotten to that. And that's basically like a single player RPG that I just have to play on mobile. So let's see what happens with there. 2, any thoughts of the revealed dynamic difficulty option for Rebirth? Still, yeah, it's too early to comment. So for those who haven't been keeping up, dynamic difficulty is where essentially the worse you play, the worse the enemies do to kind of like adjust to you. And if you're playing really well, then the enemies get stronger. So that way there's no like set difficulty, and the better you get at the game, the harder the game gets. So the game never feels too easy or too hard. It kind of just hits exactly what your skill level is. I'll be honest, I'm not optimistic that it's going to be a good feature. Only because I don't have confidence that the game will determine what high skill gameplay is in a very accurate manner. It's a big question mark, unless I misunderstood it, and that's not how it works. That's how I came to understand it. But it's too early to comment because that needs to be toyed with first. All right, this one doesn't have a hashtag, but I can clearly see that it's a question. Hey, Happy. Hi. Hope all is well for you. Doing good. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you, too. Hope this question isn't coming in too late. Barely. If I skipped going to the gym, this question wouldn't have made it in. I remember something about the phone authenticators not working. Yeah, so it's not that the phone authenticators won't work for 14. It is that the Square Enix app, the one that uses the one-time password, will stop working. Google Authenticator, Authy, whatever the Microsoft one is, all of those will work fine. You just can't use the Square Enix one anymore. So you can use the physical one as well. My friend recently ordered the physical authenticator and told me to do the same. You don't need the physical authenticator. You just disconnect the Square Enix app and use like Google Auth or something like that. You don't need the physical token. Hashtag Mondays with the Haps. Hello, mate. Hello. What do you think of the possibility of Dawn Trail bringing a new achievement mount like we have with the Triple Triad cards? You mean a new Triple Triad one? I mean, technically, that's not out of the cards for this expansion. I think they probably won't because it's only been one expansion. And while, yes, an expansion's worth of cards is quite a few, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think that at some point that's inevitable. Oh, you mean not even another Triple Triad one? You mean one based on the OSTs? That's not a bad idea. I don't think they will, though. I'm not thinking they will. For some reason, I think they want to keep the Orchestrion role being the reward, whereas with Triple Triad being a card game, completing the collection is much more of a card game thing than completing the OSTs as part of the collection. So yeah, I don't think they will. It's totally an option, but it's just my personal opinion. I don't think they will. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hi, Happy. Hi. First time asking, so bonus hello, in case someone forgets. Almost had to forget, but I accepted it. I was wondering if you think the Island Sanctuary systems will keep getting updates in Dawn Trail or will be ignored. I would think it's going to be ignored, and the rewards that are in there will just always be in there. Maybe they'll make some other small adjustments, but I'm not super optimistic because they're already talking about what the next lifestyle content is. So to me, that I think they said they they had some interest. I'm trying to remember because I feel like they commented on this exact thing, like whether or not they would keep doing updates. I think it was like, if there's interest, they will. So that's always a question mark. What they determine is enough interest. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Enjoy the island and its content. Would hate to have all my work for this be nothing other than easy access to 9 and 10 materia. And the voucher mounts, or the loot box mounts, whichever way you prefer to get them. At the very least, it'll always be a steady income of money, but I'm not super optimistic they'll do too much more with it. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps. Hi. Hope everything is going all right with you and the kiddies. We doing all right. Got a question about 11 today. Ooh, speaking of which, don't forget my Final Fantasy 11 event kicks off on Tuesday as well. I should probably add a reminder to that. Just beat the Shadow Lord, and while it was a cool fight, I'm not going to be able to invest the time into being able to level and do the expansion stories. My question is, can I still get a sense of the story by just watching the cutscenes on YouTube and reading them online? Will that not cover enough to prepare me for Echoes of Vana'diel? I'd say watching the cutscenes will prepare you enough. You'll recognize things, but whether or not you have the connection that you get from playing through something versus reading about it, that's the big question. And I don't have an answer to that question. So I think you'll probably be okay. The Shadow Lord was a definite must, because I'd be shocked if he's not present in even just like the first raid going into Echoes of Vana'diel. But I would say at the very least, watch through Xylart and Chains. Treasures is a maybe, but those two at bare minimum, I think would be a good idea. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Mr. Hi. Good Sunday to you. Oh, someone remembers what day I record these. It was in your videos with be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, share. But what does favorite mean? I don't know. I've just been saying it for 10 years. Probably a removed feature at this point. No, you can, I guess favorite would be the equivalent of adding it to your, no, it wouldn't be your watch later. You can add, can't you add videos to something? It's just like, yeah, you used to be able to favorite videos is what you used to be able to do. I don't know, actually. I have to double check at this point. Hashtag Mr. Happy Days, Mr. Cat Days. Every day is Cat Day. Damn right. Hey, Haps and Kitty Crew. Yeah, they're just chilling. Oh, yeah, they're sleeping. She's sleeping against his butt. Hopefully they don't move before I end the video. Actually, after I answer this question, I'll quickly snap a picture. I know everyone is screaming about wanting Beastmaster's new limited job. What do you think about a Minion Master? A job where you could basically use your collection of minions as Pokemon? No. After Lords of Verminion, I don't even want to entertain the idea of going near the minions ever again. You could argue that, oh, they've already done some of the work. So I guess it wouldn't be as bad for them to... I don't even want to imagine it. I'd be even more disappointed because then I won't care. Because then I already have all the Pokemon. Like, I have so many minions. Like, there's not even much for me to do. You know what I mean? At that point. So it would just be boring because I like the collection part the most. And I have most of them already. I'd just be rounding out my collection at some point. So yeah, I don't think that would be nearly as satisfying. Quick lightning round question before this. Someone asked when I thought Echo would be added to Anabasios. I don't remember when they add Echo to the final Savage tier. I feel like they do that in the next expansion start. It's been a whole expansion since I've had to think about it. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, lightning round is IDK. Check when the 5.4 one, when Eden's Promise got Echo. As for the question in front of me, hashtag Mr. Happy on a Monday. Hey, hope you had a good holiday. I didn't do anything, but thank you. Hope you did too. The question is, how do you respond when a healer tells you to do something in raid and they say the most heinous things? Recently, I was doing P12S and I got the Crush Helm. I popped 3 mitts on Dark Fort, but the Scholar barely healed me with poor shields and I died of the auto after. Tell me I should pop Rampart as well. I was seething. Also, a little more info here. 7-8 Static Knight. Scholar was someone we got with a bounty to get the kill that night. I know I can't like my League of Legends self. I know I can't respond like my League of Legends self wants to. In general, how do you respond in these kind of situations? I don't know how heinous that is, but I also don't know what the 3 mitts you popped on. I have to assume it was Shadow Wall, TBN, and what would be the other one you would have popped there? I guess you could. No, Dark Might. Is that a physical damage? Or I don't know if that's physical or magic damage on Crushed Helm. I don't know because I don't know what the right tank etiquette is. Maybe Rampart is the answer. That's the problem. You're asking me something for such a specific situation that I don't know if you're even right about. Like, I have to trust that you are because you're the tank. But I also would have to check everything else about what gets used on the Crush Helms because from what I understand, you pop every single mitt on Crush Helm. But that's only what I remember because that's what I think we did during Prague. I don't even know if that's really what you do anymore. So I have no idea. That's the problem. I have no idea what the correct answer to that actually is, because I don't recall our scholars throwing shields on tanks for those. I recall them just, well, I mean, you should have an XCOG on you for that. I guess one of the tanks should have an XCOG on them for that. But again, I don't know what the tank etiquette is, so I'm busy just like trying to even think about what I've seen my tanks do, and I don't know the answer, so I can't tell you if you're even right or wrong, or if the scholar's right or wrong, because I don't know, because I don't do. I haven't even been in P12 Phase 2 in like 4 months. So TBD. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Oh, there's the hello. There's the lack of hello. We found it. Good thing there was a spare earlier. Do you think we'll see Island Sanctuary get a Diadem 3.0 style rework on after 7.0? You think it'll just stay the way it is? It'll stay the way it is. They're not going to bother. Exactly what it is being individualized per person already kind of takes it away from being Diadem, because if they Diadem it and completely restructure how the whole thing works, then it's going to undo what basically everyone's already done and progressed. So you'd sooner see another piece of content that is improved on it than them actually rework Island Sanctuary. It'd be a shame if Island Sanctuary just abandoned without at least taking this type of feedback and giving it a second one. No, they'd sooner just do a new piece of content. They're not going to completely rework the way that it is now when people have already spent as many hours as they have working on their islands to the point where they have. So no, I don't think so. Another lightning round question. There was one asking about why they don't do anti-cheat, and there was a reply that honestly just says everything I would have said, so shout out to the person who replied to that. Question in front of us, hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, Haps. Hey, 2 hays. I'll add one to the other one. With all the discourse around the 2-minute meta, do you think it'll be better just get rid of most job raid buffs? No. That would be even more lame than making them all line up at the same time, because then it's just 8 people playing side by side with like no sort of integration between each other, no care in a world. Like technically what you've suggested is something I could almost see the dev team doing, because the way they've classically addressed feedback is by going to what is the lowest common denominator in terms of the feedback and what would most likely appease the masses. Well, this is a problem, this is a problem, that's a problem. Let's just take it all and put it in this umbrella and smack this into the answer. And that's how we get stuff like the 2-minute meta and the relics all being just tomes. You know, it's that very reductive thinking. So what you're saying sounds like something that could happen in some universe, but I think they're aware just enough not to do that. And I also don't think it's a good idea. Oh, and that was actually the last question. Wow, the questions just flowed until there were none left. There was just an oi and a first under. There's a couple that I went past that didn't get to, but all the same, yeah, that worked out. Nice, quick and thorough, I feel. Weekly Q&A. So with that, I'm going to wrap up and get this rendered and finally go take that post-gym shower that I've been waiting for. Thank you, everyone, for watching this week's episode. Like I said, be sure to like, subscribe, skip the middle one because I don't know if this. Oh no, this isn't. I'm just looking at the options right now. There's a thanks button there, which you can do also. I appreciate that. There's a clip button. There's a save button. There's a report button. Don't do that. Don't like, favorite. Don't like, subscribe, report. And then I think the promote button is only on my side because it's like I could pay to like make it like ad space. I think that's all the promote button is. Is that all it is? It's probably all it is, I imagine. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, okay. I don't want to do that. No, thank you. Anyway, yeah, that's going to be a wrap for this week's episode. Be sure to ask your questions in the comment section for next week's episode. And with that, I'll either see you next week, and don't forget, Tuesday, Final Fantasy 11 event. If you buy and are willing to play the game and subscribe to the game, then myself and many other people are willing to help people out to get through all sorts of missions. I'll essentially be setting everything up on Tuesday, and people have already been going at it. I have almost 2 full link shells of people as it is. So, yeah, it's been a crazy time. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, I bid you adieu. Bye-bye.